besties. Welcome back to another episode of Small Business Bestie. I'm your host, Michelle Smock, and today I get the incredible privilege of chatting with my good friend, Mickaylyn Conrad. And Mickaylan is the proud owner of a new up-and-coming Lexington hangout that I think you guys are all going to really get behind and be able to support. So, Mickaylyn, thank you so much for being here. If you don't mind, just take a minute and tell us about yourself.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. So, as you said, my name's Mickaylyn, but sometimes I go by Mick because people can't pronounce it. I am a mom of two young boys, 9 and 4. I got my hands full.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, Maverick so their names are Maverick and McIvan. Maverick we call Magic Mav.
We can hear him. No, that's not Mav, is it?
That's McIvan. Yelling at the dog, Herb.
Herb.
Yeah.
All right, so now we know the family.
Welcome. But Maverick is level 3 autistic and has cerebral palsy. So I am a mom and a special needs mom. And I'm also like a parent support liaison for a local nonprofit. And I help special needs parents navigate finding resources and things. So
Wonderful.
Wear a few hats.
Yeah, absolutely. So you took on the role of the parent liaison after you yourself became a special needs mom, or was that like serendipitous? You were already doing those things?
I took it on after his diagnosis and stuff. Like it took me a while after his diagnosis to kind of like come into myself and the acceptance process. But I took that on after I knew, what it was like to like need resources, because they usually just give you a diagnosis and then just, say good luck.
Yeah.
Kind of on your own. But I was always in school. I was always like the peer tutor. I was a peer tutor in high school. My mom was actually paralyzed a few years when I was younger. I've gotten a few fights in high school. And it was always like sticking up for, disabled or special needs kids. So I feel like life was kind of like preparing me for it.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was privileged in that aspect, like that it obviously changed our world, but it didn't completely flip it upside down.
Yeah.
Because I was like kind of always in that arena, and I just wanted to help other parents who weren't as prepped.
Right.
And had nowhere to go.
Yeah. So a small connection just to further exemplify what a natural caretaker and nurturer you are. I think the reason that you and I even got connected is because when I was separating from my husband, I was kind of in a place of like, I need resources because, I'm moving out of my family home and into a condo. I have nothing, I'm kind of starting from scratch. Not to Y'all don't get the wrong idea. My husband was not like withholding, anything from me. I just didn't want to take everything from our family home. So, but that's how we kind of actually got connected in the first place. You were so kind and generous and, helped me to get reestablished. And so I think it's just absolutely like a part of who you are to be that nurturer and caretaker and reach out to people and try to make sure that they're, navigating difficulties in their life with as much ease and grace as you can do. So
I try. I've been there. I've been very low.
Yeah.
And after I got back up, I was like, I'm going to like, anytime that I have the privilege to, I'm going to help anybody that I can.
Yeah.
I went through a divorce pretty young. I became a mom at 19. So. And I'm from Eastern Kentucky. Got some, had some family things.
Yeah.
And I just came out of it and I was like, I believe you get what you put back into the world. Like you get back what you put into the world.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I try to like do as often as I can. My personality, people would not expect me to be as nice as I am. But
it is kind of true. You come off a little like brazen and crass a little if you don't, if you don't see your heart behind all of that.
yeah.
But I think that there's probably good reason, right? Like having to be the mama bear and like defend and stand up.
I'm very like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm like the definition of like hard on the outside, soft on the inside. But like I match energy. It depends.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, I'm glad we got started off on the right foot then, because I wouldn't want to see the other side of it. So tell me more about the nonprofit that you work with.
So the nonprofit I work with is called A Different World Incorporated. It was started by Samantha Fields. She's a wonderful human being, the baddest of the bad. So she started A Different World. Her son is autistic, and she wanted to create like sensory-friendly events and help families, and she never stops. She also works a full-time job, has 3 kids, but she pours like everything she's got into the nonprofit. And so we host sensory friendly events once a month. I'm actually doing an event at the extension office June 8th, where it's like a paint your pot class and repotting a plant for teens and adults with disabilities.
Oh, that's awesome.
And because that's how me and Sam like really like that's why I took on the position of parent support liaison, because I had started a support group for parents called Nurture and Navigate, and I believed very deeply in what she was doing and I could see her passion, so I wanted to run it through ADW and then work for her in that capacity.
Yeah. It's always so great when you can collaborate with people who have similar missions and values instead of
I
just trying
know.
to go out on your own and do
Yeah.
everything
Find your
solo.
tribe. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long have you guys been working together?
Over a year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So other than the sensory friendly events and the support group, the parent support group, are there other offerings that the
Yeah,
nonprofit
like,
has?
it's kinda like case by case, like, we've
Mm,
had people who are like, "We need a new car seat," and we help them, or people are like, struggling with groceries or Christmas presents,
I
and
see.
we just help any way we can, like, there's no specific thing
Right.
that we do. But like at our events, we have, so like in the summertime, we have like inflatables and stuff. And then Christmas time, we have like little gifts. We do like back to school events where we supply school supplies. We try to create a space where people get to feel normal
Yeah.
and supported. So less alone.
Yes. That's amazing. And that's based here in Lexington?
Yeah, but we serve across Kentucky. We're statewide.
Oh,
We're actually going to Magoffin County, my hometown.
what's the name of the county?
Magoffin.
Okay.
Salyerville is the county seat.
Okay. Never heard of any of these places.
No.
Tell me you're a transplant to Kentucky without telling me you're a transplant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not full bred.
Sorry about that. So
It's
how long have you been in Lexington?
I found out I was pregnant and I was like, get me out of here. So me and my ex-husband moved to Georgetown, actually.
Okay.
But I've been gone from home for, well, my guyman's 9, so 8 years.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're finding your tribe here? Are you, yeah, pretty rooted and planted here now?
Like I've made my community.
I love all of the plant metaphors because this brings us perfectly into like your new venture and the reason that I was excited to have you on the show today to talk about what you got up your sleeve for the next chapter and venture. So tell us a little bit about what you're dreaming and scheming.
Okay, so we are making it's been a long time dream. It's been in my back pocket. And if you remember the day you came to the house, you were like, I wish this space existed. And I was like, yes. And I kept looking at my husband because like I'd been saying this for quite a while. You were like, if the space was like this. And I was like, yes. It's Mick's Pot Spot, and it is going to be have you ever watched Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
So everybody says Schitt's Creek's like the perfect version of the world without like discrimination or homophobia. I
Yeah.
want the shop to be the example of the perfect world without ableism or barriers for people with disabilities and their caregivers. So we're going to be a plant shop that is super accessible and inclusive, and just the environment itself is going to be very welcoming and non-judgmental. Being a mom to a child with disabilities, especially obvious disabilities, it's pretty hard to go out in public. I've had people ask me, what's wrong with him? And not been comfortable with us being in the space because he's being noisy or whatever. And I go by this saying that is, some of the best community resources come from someone standing up and saying, I need this for myself and I'm willing to share it for everyone else.
Yes.
And that's what the pot spot is. It's something that I've needed at many, many times in life, especially since having Mav. I've been like, I wish somewhere existed for us to just exist.
Yeah.
And so I need this and I'm sharing it with the community.
This is incredible. So it's a plant shop, but it's an inclusive space where people can just come hang out.
Yeah, just come hang out. Like I imagine like if there's a situation where a mom like me is like trying to do schoolwork or trying to do work or, and just needs out of the house, like they can come to the shop and she can sit and send her emails and handle her business while her child's able to STEM or whatever.
Yeah,
because we are designing it like literally from the ground up to be as adaptive and accessible as possible. I actually have a architectural designer working with me who is autistic herself.
that's amazing.
And I mean, everything down to the surfaces of the furniture, we're trying to be very mindful and sensory friendly and make it safe for
Yeah,
the moms that are already holding their breath when they walk in most places
yeah.
to be able to breathe.
It's interesting because I have 2 children, which already I think maybe I'm just a highly anxious person, and so I'm always, like, concerned, like, I don't want my kids to be too noisy, or I don't want them to disrupt somebody else if we go into a restaurant, I'm like, "Sit down, stop, be quiet," you know? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I can't put myself in a mental space where I could even start to imagine the amount of emotional anxiety and turmoil that you feel when you're going into situations. And as you were telling me about Mixed Pot Spot and how you're hoping that you could, just be a space for people to come and be and send off those emails if they need to or whatever. Like, the amount of times that I go into co-working spaces
Yeah.
because I just can't sit at home and do my work anymore.
Right.
Like, I need to be around people or around some sort of stimulation that gets me out of the like home
Yeah.
mindset. And I imagine that if you do have children with special needs, like that isn't really a possibility for you
It's not
because you're
very
not
accessible.
accepted into those co-working spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is incredible.
And then, because you also have your adults with different disabilities. I mean, there are adults who STEM and it's not controllable.
Right.
And, say you have an adult with level 2 or 3 autism, it's not that they're incapable of being a part of a co working space, but they're not really welcomed or,
Right.
like supported in those spaces.
Yeah.
So I really want it to be for caregivers of those with disabilities and those with disabilities themselves.
Yeah.
I plan on even, I really want to like prioritize hiring and accommodating employees with disabilities because that's lacking
Yeah.
severely in the world. Because I've just always said, like with Maverick, his disability is not the hard part. It's the lack of spaces and the way that society is set up that makes it
Mhm.
so difficult. Because, we try to run basic errands and it's like, there's something else we can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you and I had a conversation offline, and you were telling about one of the potential spaces that you were looking at as a location for Mixed Pot Spot. And even just the like accessibility for the strollers that are adaptive and things like that become a huge issue when you're trying to get into facilities. So having someone who's thought through all of those aspects of let's remove as many barriers as
As,
we possibly can to
yeah.
make this a comfortable, welcoming experience.
Yeah.
I love that. So in your ideation of Mixed Pot Spot, you're not serving food or anything like that, right? It's
No.
a plant shop, it's a hangout, it's a place where people can come do co-working. What else are you going to do there?
So we're also going to do like workshops, like different workshops, like about plant education and different things. And we're going to do like some art classes and stuff. It's also going to kind of be like boutique vibes because I really want to support local artists and creators, whether they have disabilities or are part of the LGBTQ or other minority communities. It's not financially or physically accessible a lot of times to do some vendor events and stuff like that. In the name of removing barriers, I want to also help like different small business owners promote their business and give them a platform to sell their items or, offer their services without like very expensive vendor fees or having to set up and take down in all in
Right.
one day. So we'll have some vendors that are staples in the store, like their inventory is there all the time.
Yeah.
We're going to do small business Saturdays where I rotate and have a different vendor set up on Saturday. Everything with super low vendor fees, like, so it's really affordable and accessible. I want to give different artists the opportunity to like host classes in the space, like ticketed events.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be a store. I want to be like a community resource.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have like assistive technology and adaptive equipment that I'm really excited about.
Okay, you're going to have to slow down because unfortunately I have to claim my ignorance on this. So I heard your words, no idea what it meant.
So I have some examples. So for example, Maverick has always utilized Chewy's, and there's not really a store local that we can just walk in and buy Chewy's or things that he needs.
Yeah.
And when you really sit back and think about that, it's a little dehumanizing.
Right.
that I can't walk in Target like you can and just get what my kiddo needs.
Right.
So I'm wanting to bridge that gap a little bit. And then we're also having some things like this is a can opener that goes on a
Okay.
keychain. And then we'll have like this is for like say you're opening a tuna can. You slide this under the tab and then this pulls it open for you. So if you have mobility issues and things,
I see.
yeah, we'll have button pullers.
Nice.
And then we're going to do like some custom stuff, like, you know, tags for strollers to be treated as wheelchairs and things because they're medically necessity. They
Right.
just look different. So people, you know, don't treat them as if they're a medical necessity equipment. And like this one we made for Mavericks, it says Magic Mavs Ride. But we'll
Nice.
offer different things like that. I just, you know, I just want people to I just want people to feel like humanized and like seen.
Yeah.
So, and we're also going to do like order forms. So, like, say that a part on somebody's wheelchair breaks and insurance is going to take 6 months and, you know, they need it now. They will be able to bring their equipment into the store. We do an evaluation, and then the person who's working with me on this is an actual engineer. So, you know, hopefully we can like come up with something that's a temporary fix so that their equipment is still working for them and it's affordable.
Yeah. That's incredible. So how did you get connected with the engineer? Was it just somebody you already knew?
Through the plant community.
Okay.
And especially when I like kind of started announcing that I was, you know, like pulling the trigger on the pot spot, I've had a lot of people offer services and volunteer to help.
Yeah.
Like the architectural designer, she contacted me and wanted to volunteer her services. We've had, and then the engineer is wanting to work with us. So he's actually like taught classes before and he's taught special education classes. His wife's in the medical field, so they kind of like have that empathy
Yeah.
and he you know he just wants to be a part of it and do something to help the community. So I've had offers to do our murals for free on our windows and stuff like that. I've had people donate art for us to auction off to fundraise, and the community's just been very open to
Yeah.
the idea. And that's the thing. I'm trying to, you know, like the person I'm using for flooring is a special needs dad. Like I'm trying to really uplift the community and not just build a space for people, but with people too. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very mindful.
It sounds like you're doing a great job. And I know I've seen some of the threads where you've made announcements or asked for specific things. And the response that I'm seeing is just so overwhelmingly supportive. And like you said, the community's really like coming together and offering up services or goods or whatever they have to be able to
Yeah.
try to support this.
Yeah.
So I know that like in the beginning, kind of fundraising from a community aspect has been one of the things that you've had to work on. So what have you done so far that was either super effective or not effective at all? And what like advice or experience have you gained so far that could maybe help other people who need to have some sort of like crowdfunding?
So we do have a GoFundMe. That's not been very like, which I'm probably not great at sharing it. I don't like asking for help,
Yeah.
especially like that. So I haven't really promoted it probably as much as I should.
Hmm.
But we did have like a t-shirt fundraiser. So we made like different t-shirts. Here's one. It says like, don't be afraid to bloom differently.
Yeah.
So we made design different t-shirts that like kind of go with the theme of the store. And we sold those and that actually already has raised, I believe the last time we looked, it was around $500.
Wow.
Because one of our big goals as far as fundraising is getting a Caroline's cart, like the buggy is what I call them,
Uh-huh.
like at Walmart with the
Yeah.
seat in them, the adaptive shopping cart.
Yeah.
So we're going to have one of those.
That's awesome.
But really, it's just been like, I think people are missing community, especially at this time in society and just everything that's going on. The value of just face to face connection and networking has really like went up. And
Yeah.
it's pretty rare now, you know, now that we have social media and stuff. Because, like, I mean, just talking to people, like when people have, you know, seen me in person, and once they get to like really understand what the story is, then they're like, how can I help? Like, I'll
Yeah.
volunteer, I'll do whatever I can. So, really, I've just learned that, you know, kind of not taking advantage, but like utilizing the community
Absolutely.
has been the most helpful than
Okay.
just connecting with people.
Yeah, connecting with people, and I'm gonna challenge you on the GoFundMe because you said you don't like asking for help, but it would be different if you were asking like, "Hey, I would really like to put a new bathtub in my house because I want to take a long soak just for the fun of it." But like, you're asking for people to help you to bring to fruition a beautiful vision that you have for the community. So I would challenge you to reframe your thinking on the GoFundMe that it's,
I've been trying because I was like,
yeah.
I'm not asking for help for me.
In fact, I'm going to make you let me link the GoFundMe in the show notes. So there's the challenge. We're going to put the GoFundMe in the show notes. So if anybody feels led to help Mick on this journey to bring Mick's Pot Spot to fruition, you can go to the show notes and find that GoFundMe and drop her a couple of dollars. You're welcome, Mick.
Thank you. We do have some like, which a lot of people just really haven't even like been concerned about that. They just wanted to help.
Right.
But we have little donation tiers. We're actually going to have a wall in the store that's like hand painted with like vines and blooms. And we'll have the names of everyone who has like helped support us
Oh,
and create this space. So I'm excited about that.
yeah. I want to be on that wall. I
You're going to be
mean,
on that wall.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so good to, like, not even for other people's recognition, but it's so good when you walk in somewhere and you really feel like I've contributed to make
Yes.
something good happen for my community.
Yeah, and even people that haven't contributed have walked, are able to walk in and look and be like, wow, other people believe in this.
Exactly. A whole community came together to make
Right,
this happen.
right.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you specific questions about the plants now and why in the world was your idea to take plants and combine it with an accessible space where people feel welcome?
So after I had Maverick, I had really bad postpartum, really, really bad postpartum
Yeah.
depression. And then I just kind of lost myself. Like I got lost in the sauce between postpartum and then him getting diagnosed and just motherhood in general. I mean, you know how easy it is to get swept up in just being somebody's mom.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing, but some women are just not. I'm one of the women that's not fulfilled just by motherhood. Like,
Right.
I've always been a worker and girl boss. And I had a friend, and she actually gave me. So the first plant she gave me was like the most dramatic plant I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, why would you give me this?
Wait, when you say dramatic, like you looked at it and it made you have all the feelings, or it was like a drama queen plant that was like
Like it
too
was like
much
a
water,
drama
not
queen
enough
plant.
water?
It was a calathea. And if
Okay.
you breathe wrong, it's like,
Uh-huh.
I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I can't keep plants alive. But she gave me a friendship plant. It's a Chinese money plant and it's pretty easy care. And that just kind of like bloomed it. Like I was like, this is a fulfilling hobby. It's high reward. It's emotionally doesn't need anything from me the way that like kids and husbands and everybody else does.
Mhm.
Then when I had my hysterectomy, I lost a lot of my collection and I was like pretty bummed. Um,
Yeah.
And my therapist was like, it's time to get our plants back. Like, you deserve
Yeah.
your thing and your joy. And that's been a really hard thing. Like, I can't go buy plants with Maverick anymore.
Yeah.
And then, there are a few places that are physically accessible, but the vibe overall is just kind of like quiet and the plants are really low. So he could grab and pull them off. And,
Yeah.
it's just not like I said before, I believe that resources come from somebody saying, I need this for myself. And
Right.
it's really like there's been a lot of times that I've been like, man, I wish somebody would just this. I wish somebody
Right.
would just do this. And finally I was like, nobody else is going to make the space. I'll build it.
And here we are. I love that. I think it's so funny because I'm also a plant lady
Yeah.
and I have this almost identical story that like the first house plant I ever had, I killed. I don't even remember what it was now, but I got it in my mind like, oh, I can't do house plants.
No, we all have victims.
And then somewhere along the way, I started getting houseplants again. But I saw the funniest graphic on social media the other day because I'm in a bunch of crazy plant lady groups.
Same.
Yeah, right. And they had a picture of somebody like splayed out on the ground in their garden, like very obviously distraught and heartbroken. And it said, beginner gardeners when they lose a plant.
Yeah.
And then there was a picture next to it of somebody that's like tossing a plant over their shoulder. And they're like, once you've been doing it a while, you're like, see ya.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
have
gave up on life.
The other day, I say that all the time. I saw it in a plant group, but it's like, did I really kill a plant or did it just not have what it takes to survive in a fast paced environment?
Exactly.
But like, I'll just tell on myself when you ask, like, if you ask in a group and you're like, what's the best beginner friendly plant? Most people will say pothos or
Right.
pothos, however you decide to say it. And before we started filming, I had to take one off the shelf. It was like miserable, like yellow leaves and everything. And I'm like, man, like, how did I do that? Like,
3 crankiest plants in my bedroom because I got it in my mind when I moved that if they were around my energy more,
yeah,
maybe they wouldn't be so cranky. So I thought, well, if they're in the same room with me while I'm sleeping and like I work from home and I'm going to tell myself now, this curtain isn't like hiding like a mansion. This is a corner in
hey
my
there.
bedroom. So they are with me all the time, these plants. And they're crankier now than ever. I
What
just
kind are they?
well, one's a peace lily, and she's just dramatic all the time. And one is a fiddle leaf fig. And I think if you sneeze, they get upset. Like my fiddle leaf is so cranky.
I
And
won't even have
honestly, I
one.
don't know what the other one is called. It's beautiful. I'll send you a picture after. I'll put it on the
It's
social media post about this. But it's so funny. She's just she's real thirsty, but she just wants tiny drinks all the time. So I've got to give her like a tiny sip every day.
My thing is like the level of care doesn't really matter as much. It's about how much joy that plant brings me. Because if it's not like instant dopamine, like I'll just let it die. My brain, like I'll look at a dying plant and be like, Mickaylyn, you need to water that. And then I just keep looking at it. And then it goes in the graveyard.
Oh my gosh.
But I started the other day I saw a video and this woman was like, I counted my house plants, and at first I was like, that's none of my business. How many plants I have. That's not anybody's business. So then I thought about it and I was like, how many do I have? And I started counting like just in the bedroom I hit 98 and I was like, yep, not my business.
98 in your bedroom alone?
Nobody needs to know.
I'm not judging you. That was a clarifying question. That's what we do on podcasts. We ask
But I
follow-up
stopped. I
questions.
stopped. I made it. I got here and then I got to my one of my plant cabinets over
Oh
there.
my gosh.
And then I have like the shelf over here, and then I have them hanging, and then I have a little greenhouse right here, and then I have them in the living room.
All right, and now I know why you needed to start a plant shop. You've
Somebody
got the
made a joke the other
inventory
day. They were
already.
like, "You're literally leasing a commercial space just to house your own plants."
Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
Sometimes we
I
create
was
what
like,
we need.
I'm not above it. That's really not why I'm doing it, but I wouldn't have been against it.
This is awesome. Okay, so what can the small business bestie community do to support you right now for where you are in the development of the business? And I'm just going to throw it out there. I love the fact that we're having this conversation because it's not often that I find women who are willing to come talk about something that's in progress. They
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I have to be at X level or Y level before I go talk about what I'm doing. So the bravery and boldness to come and say, this is what I'm doing. This is where I am in the process. This is what I need. This is what I've learned. Thank you so much because it's so important for us to know that, like, before you get to, whatever your level of success is in your own mind, there's all of this other stuff that's
Well, because
happening.
I even thought about that, like after you had mentioned me coming on, I was like, well, I don't really have I can't announce publicly where the space is. I
Right.
can't, like all of these things. But then I was like, somewhere else, there's whether it be a mama or whoever has an idea and that they're passionate about. And the thing about it, and like even my husband was like, like when we started for bank funding, my husband was like, you're going to hear a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to believe in it and they're going to say yes, which is
Right.
true. But, I had myself prepared and I was like, I'm not going to get discouraged. Just like this is going to happen.
Right.
So I was like, even though I don't have because I kind of started doubting myself and I was like, I'm not established enough to be given advice or, but like I said, somebody is somewhere and they're in the beginning stages and they're feeling defeated or overwhelmed
Right.
or somebody's told them no, or they had a space their heart was set on and it fell through.
Right.
And, been there, done that.
Right.
Right. But you just got to keep going. And even a few weeks ago, I looked at Richard and I was like, I feel like I'm running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Like, all I do is like work toward this. And I was just kind of in that in between space, where like nothing was happening. Like nothing was
Yeah.
like, but that's just part of it. I mean, that's just the process.
Yes, absolutely. And it happens differently for everybody, right? Some
Yeah.
people get an idea for a business and a month later their brick and mortar is open and they've got grand opening and the commerce department's coming in and cutting a ribbon. And then sometimes you get an idea and it takes, years
Yeah.
for everything to fall into place. But the key is what you just said, not to give up.
Yeah.
If you truly believe in it and you know that you have a mission and a vision to fulfill, you just keep doing the next thing
Yeah.
that's in front
Just
of you.
whatever you can. Even if
Absolutely.
it's not like a step is a step.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter how big it is.
absolutely. Is there anything that we can do as a community to help you right now? I mean, I'm going to link the GoFundMe, but is there any like expertise or trade or anything like that that you're like,
Yeah.
if I had XYZ, it would really help?
Yeah. So honestly, like spreading the word in general, period, because it's really like grassroots.
Hmm.
Like, given the things that I need, I have some expenses that are a little different than most business startups because I'm trying to create it so accessible and inclusive.
Hmm.
And so I'm really in a space of like trying to prioritize what we spend our funds on. So like things like social media help and because I'm also still just I'm a mom of a
Right.
child of two children, one who's disabled. And so like social media help would be great. Just word of mouth would be great. Anyone who is like willing to paint walls.
Yeah.
Just, like anything it's the stuff that people don't think about. So, like, before we open, I've already got a team of people, like, with different, not a team, but like a list of people with different kinds of disabilities that are
Hmm.
willing to come and kind of move through the space
Right.
and make sure everything is like up to par and working for them. So honestly, if anybody has any different abilities or has like an experience to share of like, hey, this is what it looks like for my family who
Right.
go places. If this could be different, like I want input from the community and just,
Yeah.
invite your friends to the Facebook page or.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get everybody that we know, whether you're just a supporter of inclusivity or you have needs that this mixed pot spot is going to help fill for your family or your friends. Like, let's all go to the Facebook page, like the page, make sure that when you see any posts being made that you're like, commenting, sharing, doing all the things to get the
Hands
traffic
up.
up. Exactly. So, and then you're going to keep us informed. You have my express permission. Anytime that there's a need for the shop, you're going to post it in the Small Business Bestie group, and we're all going to keep our eye out for anything that you need in the next couple of months, whether it's help painting walls or a specific, you need a plumber, an electrician, or anything like
Yeah.
that. So you just let us know what you need, and we are here for you.
Okay, and then I'll send you that. I have a link tree with like different, and there's a Google form for anyone who is a service provider, an artist, a vendor of any type that they can fill out for me to like keep up with.
Love it.
So whether they want to set up in the store, whether they want to host a fundraiser, no matter what, they can fill that out and then I'll get in contact with them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll link that in the show notes as well. And I'm so excited to watch this journey unfold for you.
Yeah, I've been trying to document everything. It's been emotional.
It is emotional.
Yeah.
It is, especially when you're doing a business that's not just about dollars and cents to you, right?
It's like
Like
it
when it's
has
a
my name
mission.
on it, but it's not about me.
Right.
It's so I'm like really and that's been hard too. Like anytime we've hit like an obstacle, I'm like, what if I let all these people down? I just really it's been very special to
Yeah.
try to create like I don't know. I just really want it to be I want people to feel safe and I want it to feel like, even the way that I'm designing it, like somebody was like, well, that's going to feel like a home. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hey,
want
what's wrong with that?
you know, I mean, how many times have you been in a place with, especially with young kids, where your house is just not clean and you're like, I just want a space. I can sit down and breathe. Like, so I'm really hopeful and I really appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to talk about it.
Yeah.
I love everything that you do. You're one of the most supportive women that I have ever met.
Oh,
And
thanks.
I mean, literally, you were one of the first people that I was like, okay, this is happening. And you were like, when do you want to meet for lunch? Like, You were like all in, like, how can I help?
I love what I do. I'm so
I know, you're
incredibly
very passionate about
yes.
helping and uplifting other people, and I think that's what, like, because even when I told Richard, I was like, "The only person I can trust is Michelle." I was still so nervous. I was like, "I can't trust anyone." It's like, "I
Well,
need to
thank
call
you for
Michelle."
trusting me, and thank you
Always.
for letting me be an observer on your journey. Yeah. This is gonna be a great place for the Greater Lexington community to have. So I'm excited for you. Thank you for your hard work and keep us updated on what we can do to help support you.
Well, I will.
All right. It was so good talking with you. And besties, we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
All right, besties, that does it for today. If you're interested in becoming a part of the Small Business Bestie community, join us in the Facebook group or find out more information on the website at smallbusinessbestie.org. Please share the podcast with your friends who could use a friend in business. And it would really mean so much to me if you follow the show and take just a few seconds to rate or review. A 5-star rating really helps the show become visible to other besties who may just need the support and friendship that we offer.